So today we're going to talk a little bit about comparing numbers. When we are comparing numbers, sometimes we're going to need to be able to compare more than just two numbers at a time. So as we look at ways to compare numbers, there are several different methods. We've learned about using base 10 blocks and our place value chart. So as we start to think about comparing numbers or comparing values of numbers and figuring out which is our least and which is our greatest number in more than one number or two numbers, we have to remember our vocabulary that we're going to use for this process. So for instance, the word least, small, smallest, little, all those words are going to mean the smallest or the one with the least value, okay? Okay. So those words are going to be, if we're talking about the smallest number, okay? Then we also have words that would mean the greatest or the biggest. So we have words like greatest, biggest, large, and I guess we could also say the biggest or the greatest. I think that would be better. We'll say greatest value, okay? So all these words are going to be used for different ways that we discuss or talk about our numbers, okay? So as we've talked about before, there are many ways to determine the value of a number. So some of our good ways that we've learned about are by building base 10 blocks or model form, showing the hundreds, the tens, and the ones within a number. So the number that I just drew here on the board is 333, okay? And then another way that we can show the value of a number is by using our place value chart. So when we are going through these numbers, we can determine the value of each of the digits, not just the value of the whole. So we need to know how much each digit is worth. So when we're talking about the hundreds place, we could look at it and say that it's not 100, it's not 200, but it's 300s. So you could do it in 300s. So if you were going to draw those base 10 blocks, you could draw them down here, or you could write the hundreds out, or you could put a 3 there. But if you put the 3 there, you just have to know that the 3 is worth 300. And then in our tens place, we also have 3 tens. So that 3 tens, 10, 20, 30 is worth 30. So we have 30 or 3 tens or 3 in our tens place. And we also have 3 in our ones place. So, and the 3 in the ones place is just going to be what it is. It's in the ones place, so it's just worth 3. So we can also write our numbers in expanded form to get a better feel for the value of those numbers. So this number that I've drawn here is 333. As we're going through today and we start getting our numbers, we're going to have numbers and we're going to need to put them in order from least to greatest. So what does that mean? What does least mean? It means the smallest, as we discussed earlier, but we're going to have to figure out the value of each number and then figure out where it goes in our list from going from least or the smallest number here to our biggest or our largest number over here, okay? So we're going to be using three different numbers, like a number like 247 and 392 and 145. And we have to figure out the value of each of these numbers. We're going to figure out the value of each number in its own place values and determine where it goes on our line from smallest to largest, or least to greatest. So we are going to work with some numbers and determine those things as we move forward. Today I'm going to give you three numbers. Let's go with 236, 345, and 210. Those are our three numbers. And so we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our hundredths place. And in the first number I have a 2. In the second number I have a 3. And in the third number I have a 2. So which one is smaller, 2 or 3? The smaller number, the number that has the least amount, is it 200, 300, or 200? Well, 200 looks like this. 300 looks like this. Which one has fewer or less? Fewer or less? It's the 200. So we have two numbers in our list. We have two numbers that have this 200 value. We have this number, 236, and we have this number, 210. They both have 200. So how do we figure out which one is smaller, the least value? Which one has the least value? Well, we have to look at the next digit. We have to look at our tens place. Where's our tens place? Our tens place is right here. Now, why am I not looking at the 300 number? I'm not looking at the 300 number because 300 is largest. That's going to be our largest number. So that'll be the last number we write. But so now we're just looking at this. We're looking at the 3 in the tens place, so that value or what that digit's worth is 30. And then we're looking at the 10, the 1 in the tens place on the next number, the 210, and that value is 10. So which is greater? Which one is least? 30, we can draw it. 1, 2, 3 tens. And then we have 110. Which one is least? That's right. 210 is least. So now we figured out what our smallest number is, so we write it first. Now when we're writing more than one number in a list, we need to add a comma so that we know that it's not a super duper big number. We're just dealing with three numbers that are all have hundreds in them, okay? Our values are within the hundreds. If sometimes we use commas to separate larger numbers too, but for this purpose, we're just putting a comma in between the three numbers that we're putting in order from least to greatest. So now we're going to look back at these numbers, and if 210 was our smallest number, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take my marker, and we know now we're done with that number. We put it in its place. We know that it is our smallest number, and now we need to move on and kind of go back over the same steps again. So our numbers are we know that the 2 is in the hundredths place, and it's 200, and then this one we said was 300. It's in 300s is in our hundreds place there. So which one, the 200 or 300, is bigger? You're exactly right. The 200 is bigger. So now we're going to write this number 236 in our list, and we're going to add another comma. Now, just so we don't get confused and try to put that number up in our list again, I'm going to mark it out. And now I'm going to go over here, and we only have one number that is listed that we have not put in order, and that is the 345. So we're going to go ahead and list it now. So now we've placed our numbers in order from least to greatest. All right. Let's work on this one more time. Let's look at 3 more numbers. Let's look at 601, 327, and 322. Okay? So now we've got 3 numbers that all need to be put in order from least to greatest. So the first thing I do is I look over at my hundredths place. So in my hundredths place, I have a 6 in one number, I have a 3 in one number, and I have a 3 in another number. Well, I know that my 6 is going to be the biggest number I have because 600 is way bigger. 6 is way bigger than 3, right? We know that. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put 601 all the way at the very end of my list because I know that's going to be my biggest number. Now I've got to look at where do I go next? These other 2 numbers that are here. I have to figure out which one is my smaller number here. So I'm going to look at the next place value, the next digit. So I'm going to look at my tens place. My tens place has a 2 in 327. So that means it's worth 20. Did you notice when I said it? And when I said the word out, 327, I said the word 20 even. And then 322. Oh no. They're the same too. They're the same 20. 20 in both numbers. So both numbers have the same digit in the threes, the same value in the hundreds place, and they both have the same value in the tens place. So guess where we have to go, guys? Where do we have to go now? We have to go all the way over to our final place value, and that is our ones place. So we have to look at our ones number, and we have to decide, is 7 or 2 our smallest number? 7 or 2? Which one is smallest? Well, if you're looking on a number line and you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which one comes first? Which one comes first on our number line? We always read on our number line going in the reading direction. So we're always going this way with our number line when we're talking about larger. It reads larger going in the reading direction. So our 2 comes before our 7. So that means our 2 is smaller than our 7. So I'm going to write, so our 322 is our smallest number. And then the only number, we mark it out because we're done using it, and the only number left is our 327. So if we're reading our numbers from least to greatest, they're 322, 327, and then 601.